During my lunch break, I was listening to a conversation between two different people that do judo, and one of them was talking about how judo has adapted and changed in the Olympics to become an Olympic sport and more popularized and better for viewing. And reflecting on that in trampoline, trampoline is my, I guess, first sport, and trampoline sucks from a viewer's perspective. And I think trampoline and quite a few other sports could learn from what judo and probably other sports have done. Tennis, big sport. Football, big sport. American football, big sport. But listening to the way judo has adjusted the way the game works for the Olympics to grab viewers, to grab more, I guess, regular user use is really cool. And as someone that was interested in sport climbing when it went into the Olympics as well, I feel like climbing has also done something similar. The traditionalists inside of climbing don't necessarily like all of the elements in sport climbing, but it's added an element of understanding or simplicity for spectators to understand what's going on. When you see sports climbing, when there's a race, who wins to get to the top? It's fairly simple. Who completes that boulder? Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Who got further? That person or this person? Inside of judo, from what they were saying, is instead of having, I didn't know this and I might be getting this wrong, but instead of having four different points, having one point that you could get like loads of points, but if you get the next one, then that trumps all the other points, and then the main point, which I think is still an ippon, you win. Like, instead of having all of that complexity and you're looking at the scoreboard and getting confused about what's going on, it's now just 1 point, half point, and then the yellow card system from other sports, such as football or rugby or any other sport that I would imagine most people are familiar with. Instead of 2 cards, it's 3 cards, I believe. So it's 3 yellow cards, and then you get a red, and then the other person wins. Or it's a half point and a full point, and you win. Now, that is a simplification of the rules to make it more understandable from spectators, but it also allows it to be more visual when people are watching, so it becomes more spectator friendly because you can watch and go, oh, I know what's going on, that person's winning, that person's not. You look at all of the major sports, you have a scoreboard. Now, in trampoline, there is no scoreboard. The scoreboard is the results table at the end, but you can't really see what's going on until you've watched all the routines, and there is very small differences between them. So it's not, I mean, I enjoy trampoline, but I watch the highlights of trampoline. I wouldn't go and watch a competition because it's very, very tedious. It's very boring, and you're looking, and there's no excitement in the game. There isn't an opposition, as it were. It's just, okay, are you really good at performing at this time? Yes, it could be tense, don't get me wrong, but it's tense for 10 seconds, and then that's it done. Like, you build up to the last 2 or 3 competitors, and then 10, 20 seconds, however long the routine is, and that's it, finished. So it's almost like I want to get right to the end, because that's the fun bit. Like, we've got the scores wherever they are, and we can work it out from there. And there's a lot of tactics that get involved in how hard you do the routine. And for those unfamiliar, in trampoline, there's 4 different scores. Basically, jump as high as you can, but be in the middle as much as possible, make it as hard as possible, and make it look really nice. Now, the jumping high is easy to visualize. We've got machines, and machines measure how high they go. Same with displacement, horizontal displacement, how much they move. Again, number, but there's a lot of numbers. It's like 3 decimal places. You've got 2 of those numbers on the screen. That's not great. And then if you've got the execution on there as well, there's lots of execution judges which adds different scores, and then there's difficulty. So that's 4 different things that we would need to visually display in some way throughout a routine to help spectators understand what's really going on, and it's not easy. Especially with the way that the judging works. So if you've got 1 point a score, so you do a skill, you get 1, and the judges take off maximum half a point. So you could show 0.1, which means they get 0.9, but 0.1 is taken off. Which number do you show? Those sorts of questions are what I would imagine the FIG, Federation of International Gymnastics, are maybe rattling with. I've seen a couple of videos on trampoline where they're showing the time of flight, but it begs the question, if the score is still the same and visually it's still quite difficult to see whether it's good or not, like when I'm looking at the score, they've got a visual indicator, red, orange, green, as to see whether it's a good time of flight. So why show the number? Why not just show the color, or maybe simplify even further, similar to with what judo have done. And something else that judo did, which I think could be interesting inside of trampoline, is judo recognized, oh, the last minute of the fight, this is what this person was saying anyway, the last minute of the fight, the fourth minute, there wasn't much going on because they're so tired, so let's just shorten it to 4 minutes. Now, in trampoline, the qualifications, nothing really goes on. It's just, can you do a routine? Yes. Some people in the borderline will sort of, it might get in, might not get in to qualify for finals. Similar with swimming. But swimming, it's a race. Like, you look at the race and you get the top in your heat and then you qualify. And you split all of the people across. In trampoline, it's just, here's a big group, the top lot go through and then they do another routine. So it begs the question, could there be a round robin kind of version in trampoline? This is what I was thinking about while I was listening to this judo podcast, because it would reduce some of the tactical elements in trampoline, but it would increase, I think, the excitement. Because if you were to have 2 people doing their routines at the same time, yes, you'd require another panel of judges, but that's not that difficult. I don't think it's that difficult anyway. You'd have 2 panels. They do the routine at the same time. They have to focus on their routine. It's still exactly the same, but you can see whether someone's jumping higher or lower because you'd have a comparison. So if you've got jump one was higher than this person's jump 1, this one won, this one lost, then it can go up. So you can see whether, like, they've got the height, whether they've got the travel, and there could be a grouped number for that. Yes, on the back end, maybe they do they have the actual scores, but visually you could show, okay, skill 1, green, so that's time of flight, horizontal displacement, and difficulty, and maybe even execution in there as well. Who's winning at skill 1? Who's winning at skill 2? Who's winning at skill 3? Because if the routine is terminated, you have a score. And the machines, like the time of flight, the horizontal displacement, and the difficulty, that is all done like that, like really quick. And the execution judges, I would imagine, could put the score in. So you could have a system where you've got 2 people jumping, green, 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 red, whatever it is, who's winning, and then right at the end show the scores. I think that would be more visually interesting to see from spectators' perspective, to see what is going on, who's winning at the moment, who's not, and then if you win that competition, you then progress, similar to a bracket situation. What this means is, instead of having maybe 3 routines per person, because you'd see 2 qualification routines and then a final routine. So instead of seeing 3, if you've got, say, a group of 16, you might see 4 or 5 routines from the same person. Like Ivan Litvinovich, for example, who's really, really good in trampoline, basically, he might do 1 routine in qualification, have an amazing score, qualify. Second routine, he doesn't really bother because he doesn't need to. And then in finals, he does a good routine. Great. So that's 40 seconds of the sport for an hour. Okay. Done. Finish. If you've got one-on-one, he has to be able to perform that routine consistently enough 3, 4, 5 times. And depending on who he's against, he might increase the difficulty or decrease the difficulty to maybe like maintain some physical endurance or in some way like that. So these are just a few things I was thinking about from judo and applying it into the sport of trampoline, because I feel like that could be, one, more visually, you could follow the competition visually, from spectators' perspective. 2, I think it's more exciting for those watching because you can see both routines at the same time. Like, if someone crashes, you know they've lost. Like you can see, okay, they've gone, and it builds up the pressure to the routine because you're just against that person. And I've seen this actually in the National League in the, what's it called, the cup thing that they do. It's kind of like that. It's 2-trick. So they do 2 tricks and they go head to head, but they're at different times. If they were to be at the same time, different panels, I think that'd be good. The only thing I can see here is you've got different execution judges, so you might get different scores, seeing the biases. But to be honest, most judges are inconsistent anyway in competitions when I look at them. So I don't think that's much of an issue, but maybe it could be. This is just me thinking through, listening to the judo competition and how trampoline could be shifted or adapted to be more interesting, but also easier to follow for the everyday person. Yeah, pretty cool stuff.